Number is always 404-436-1277. You are live with one half of the Speakeasy Sophisticated Savage, myself, EJ Stewart. And today's broadcast was brought to you in part by the brand new reality series Chase the Dream Baltimore. Watch a group of talented recording artists navigate through life, love, and entertainment business. New episodes stream every Monday, 12 noon at YouTube, or visit facebook.com/Trace the Dream Now. Radio on Fire broadcasts reached over 278,000 viewers per month. Advertise your product, service, or event on Radio on Fire by sponsoring an episode of the Speakeasy or any other Radio on Fire show for as low as $50. Visit radioonfire.com/promo to get started. If you want to see any past episode of Speakeasy, visit radioonfire.com to watch this on demand. Click radio shows and the name of our show to see any episodes you've missed. So I just concluded a pretty good interview, man, with a very good brother of mine, a very great friend of mine, who kicked off our Black Male Empowerment series. This brother was born in Brooklyn, New York, raised to Jamaican parents, picked up the sport of lacrosse, and brought it here to Morgan State University and has taken it back to Long Island, New York. And just a positive brother, man, just doing big things. You know, I feel like today's day and age, it's been ever more apparent with police shootings and violence and statistics that black males are endangered species. And, you know, what we're doing with this Black Male Empowerment species series is giving brothers a chance to voice who they are, voice their opinion, you know, get things off the chest. So going into that, I watched the NAACP Image Awards, and I watched the recap of that, and I thought it was dope. I thought it was interesting. The NAACP is housed in Baltimore, Maryland, over in the Walbrook, kind of off of the Walbrook Junction area, not really in the epicenter of activity. If you don't know what's there, you might not know what's there. Not to knock them, but I kind of wondered watching this, you know, how they fund this award show in LA with so many big stars, when your headquarters is in such a volatile place, meaning Baltimore City, and there's not a lot of attention here. So that was just one thing that came up top of my head. Anthony Anderson was the host, the star of Blackish, and it seemed like the theme was very strong in acknowledging black females. And it was almost to the point where Anthony Anderson acknowledged every female on his cast, but failed to acknowledge Lawrence Fishburne, the young man that plays his son, the two young men that plays his son. And I'm not saying anything negative about it. I just felt like, you know, the whole award show was very geared towards black women, which is very dope. And all of the black women were very dope. I think the NAACP needs to look further on how it can potentially spread love equally throughout the black community, especially in this city that the headquarters housed. It was very interesting. It was a very good show. I didn't know that the star of Get Out was English. So the award show was definitely dope. And I like the empowerment, you know, keep it going. The only thing that I thought about was just what could they do here if they could pull off something like that. There's a lot of local talent. There's a lot of local shows. There's a lot of local people here that could utilize that platform, that could feel inspired. You know, black men, we are only going to feel as good as people tell us. You know, there is no real movement for Black Boys Rock, Black Men Rock. You know, and I just feel like in a city where this organization is housed, and its historical roots, that we may need to kind of look how we can feed off of the local talent here. That was my only thought on that. But I had to mention it because I did talk about it on social media. I didn't want to be too fake. I don't owe anybody. They're not paying me. I'm not paying them. So I just want to talk about it. Black Lightning came out this Tuesday, premiered at 8 p.m. I'm a superhero buff. I love comics. I love DC and Marvel equally. Most people say they do, but they don't. They're liars. Most people love Marvel more than they love DC. But Black Lightning is one of the earlier black superheroes that DC came out with after Black Panther, because Black Panther was one of the most major black comic superheroes. But this show was dope. The preview was dope. The backstory was dope. The casting was dope. You had the brother Scooter, as we know him, if you know, not in Living Color. What the hell was the name of that same show with Queen Latifah, Kim Fields, Living Single? Scooter, the love interest of Queen Latifah back in the day, is playing Black Lightning, who has his two daughters, played by China Anne McClain, who I'm a major fan of. Seriously talented. My middle daughter looks just like her. China Anne McClain is a triple threat. She can act, she can sing, she can dance. And then her older sister, Nisa, is played by a young lady who actually attended an historically black college university, specifically Delaware State at one point. Don't have her name on hand, and I'm terrible for that. But the show is dope. All of the elements of black family, black love. You have Roland Martin, Diamond K's nemesis, making an appearance, talking about the dichotomy of blackness, even as it pertains to superheroes. So I say that to say, all of you part-time superhero fans and superhero people that are ranting and raving about Black Panther, support Black Lightning, which comes on the CW at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. Support it, man. I mean, you want to say you're pro-black culture. Here's a show that comes on every Tuesday on network TV that perpetuates black family, black love, and it's going down. I mean, you need to support it. Moving on, and these are all of our quick hits for the day. Going to basketball, I'm kind of disturbed. The Houston Rockets players decided after a game with the Los Angeles Clippers that they would go into the locker room and fight the Los Angeles Clippers. Chris Paul, being a Los Angeles Clipper veteran for many years, decided to show his teammates the back way to get into the locker room while one of his other teammates knocked on the front door. It's speculated that Austin Rivers, the son of Doc Rivers, said something about Chris Paul's wife, which in this day and age is very possible and probable that something could have happened. Something could have happened. Could have struck a nerve. Could have struck a chord.
Sounds like it did.
It pretty much did. I mean, when KG told Melo, Lala tastes like Cheerios, it struck a chord to me to this day. But I just think that the off the court, you played a full basketball game to where you're trying to take it off the court. Now you're no longer regulated by the NBA. Now you're regulated by, Staples Center Arena and LAPD. I feel like if it was something so egregious, and I'm not everybody, everybody reacts to different things. Why didn't you get ejected? Why didn't you do something at that point? And I'm not perpetuating that you should have did that. It's just crazy to me that you guys went to that extent where you got millions of dollars on the line. You want to act like you from the hood, you in the hood right now. Go to the hood. Play on the hood courts. Do the hood things. But you guys are making millions and millions of dollars. And I guess to some degree you have an ability to do that because you're making millions and millions of dollars. But at the same time, the NBA, I always say the NFL and playing football is a tougher sport than football, and I'm always stick by that. I'm always say it's tougher to do things as a football player because of the stigma. I'm always say that. And as I'm going to give the NBA the one up, you guys are role models. People look at CP3, they look at Harden, they look at these guys, there's children out here that look at y'all for guidance, man. And I didn't see the point. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. As a Chris Paul fan, since he came out of high school, I thought it was beneath him. I didn't like it. And I felt like if you were really that emotional about it, you should have snuffed Rivers on the court. That whole situation, the way it went down, it seemed like people that are making millions of dollars. It just sounded ridiculous. It sounded like the setups and the things that we hear and see around our urban cities and people getting killed. So y'all gotta do better. That was some bullshit. Period. Switching gears, the Tide Pod challenge. I use Tide Pods every now and then. I stop using them because I don't really think they leave a great scent to your clothes. But you kids are dumb. You kids and teenagers and old people, whoever participates in these challenges, eating Tide Pods is just ridiculous. It's clear on the warning label you can die. And Tide has not reduced the sales. They have not mandated any restrictive protective process over their sales. Basically, you guys are going to buy these Tide Pods and make them richer while you poison yourselves. Great job, dumbass. If you really want to challenge yourself to better your community and your friends and your people. When are we ever going to have a community service challenge? When are we ever going to have I'm going to do homework challenge? When are we ever going to have a challenge, I love my parents? When are we ever going to have a challenge, I love my girlfriend? When are we going to do that? And I said it to say with social media, people that have sense, stop subscribing to people that don't have sense. If you think it's some bullshit, stop subscribing to it. It's only going to perpetuate and continue to foster and facilitate the bullshit. The people that subscribe in the bullshit and fuckery, as we like to say, they're only going to perpetuate that. So the more that you subscribe to that, the more relevant you make them feel and the more of an avenue that they have. Nobody would care about the challenge if we don't pay attention to it. Nobody would care about the ratchet World Star fights if we didn't pay attention to it. The Greek shenanigans, for you people that are in fraternities and sororities of the historically black Greek letter diaspora, stop subscribing to Greek shenanigans. It's bullshit. It's bullying. It's punk shit. Stop subscribing to it. You only give the fuel to the fire as much as you subscribe to it. Sticking with the Tide, I want to talk real quickly about the Roll Tide racist Alabama situation. You had a student at the University of Alabama from South Jersey. I'm not going to say her name. You can Google it. Basically went on a viral tirade talking about niggers and how she doesn't like niggers. She's a member of Alpha Phi sorority. Alpha Phi, that's ALPHA PHI, Alpha Phi Sorority Incorporated. I believe she is a member. I believe she's been kicked out of Alabama by now, but she's from South Jersey, and she virtually perpetuated the fact that she felt like because she was in the South, she could say whatever the hell she wanted about black people. This is an ongoing problem at a predominantly white institution. You're surrounded by people you don't know really actually care about you. It's one thing to be at a historically black college, university, and to, question each other in a way that is suspect to our culture and things of that nature. But it's another thing to know that the person, it's one thing to be at an HBCU to question whether or not this person is going to cheat on your test or sleep with your boyfriend or do something foul. But it's another thing to go to a predominantly white institution and wonder if the person next to you really devalues you as a human being because of the color of your hue and your skin and your culture and your ethnicity. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, man, I don't know what to tell people. I know that HBCUs may not offer everything. I know that we may not be as appealing as every other university. But it was a point in time where we could only go to HBCUs. And I feel like, man, with everything going on, man, people need to reevaluate. And a lot of people talked about this with athletes, and I understand why athletes go where they go. But athletes are conscious. They're awake. They know what's going on. 9 hours of the day, they are working out, and they are balancing their lives. They know what's going on. But if you are a talent and you can go elsewhere and you're worried about racism and you're worried about what people think of you and how they discriminate against you, maybe it's time to look into a HBCU. This is just a reality. For this young girl to go on this rant and this tirade, it's ridiculous. And I've always said this: college students have the biggest past in society. They can say anything they want. People are going to forgive them. And I mean that on an activist level. So to respect to her, she's in college. She has no depth of understanding. She grew up in South Jersey, predominantly white where she was. Predominantly white where she was. And she is ignorant. I've had somebody tell me, a family friend of mine, tell me who was a Redskins fan that didn't think that their name was racist. And this is a person over 30 with minority children adopted. Going to tell me they didn't think the Redskins name was racist. And then they said, well, I think the Ravens is a racist team name because the bird is black. And I said that's not why they were named the Ravens. They were named the Ravens due to Edgar Allan Poe being from Baltimore and the Raven being a historical poem of his, to which my Facebook friend called them ignorant. And I haven't talked to them since. Right. So what this person did, not knowing, was that they believe because the Raven bird is black, that the Ravens chose that bird because it was all black. But what we had to let them know was Edgar Allan Poe, who is buried here and has roots here, wrote The Raven, so that's why it was historically named that. So that goes to show you the level and the depth of ignorance of people that you're literally walking around every day, people that you work with every day, that at one point they can seem so by the letter, down the middle, so even keel. They really do not believe you are who you're presenting to be. They really do not believe in your ability, and they really think something of you. And it's really real. While we have arrived and we have achieved much greater feats due to the labor and the pain that our ancestors, and I'm talking about recent SNCC, NAACP, whatever you want to say, endured, we are still not there. There are people out here that really doubt you. They really hate you intrinsically in everything that they practice. And this young lady that went to University of Alabama, she's probably going to be able to get another academic opportunity somewhere. She's probably going to pick a human service field. She's probably going to pick a field where she deals with the same people that she prejudiciously and racially discriminated against. And it's not going to be much that we can do about it. It goes back to the fact that we got to be on our P's and Q's. We got to be sharp. We got to create our own, because it's hard out here for us, and it's only going to get increasingly harder. And it's sad. It's sad. Last thing I want to talk about real briefly, and I think it was something else that I thought about, but I didn't write it down, so it may not be important. But lastly, Steve Bannon flipped, took a deal. Looks like he's copping pleads for his involvement with everything, but no charges have been filed yet. It's going to be a waiting process. Right now, actually, which is current news, the government is impending a shutdown. If Congress doesn't come out of session tonight and approve of the budget and come to some agreement, a lot of people in the federal government will go without pay and no promise of back pay. We really need to get on board, people, with our local legislation, our mayors, our city council, our delegates, our senators, because they are not representing us. If you are in Congress and you want to tell me, well, I'm not a federal employee, if you want to tell me that I'm going to, you're as a politician is going to possibly prohibit somebody from making money, an American citizen, you got to go. It's a problem. And I'm talking about on both sides of the house. So we really need to get this thing together, man. Other than that, man, that's pretty much it for me. I can't think of anything else that I wanted to think about. Black Panther comes out next month. Support Black Lightning. which is on the CW every Tuesday at 8 p.m. It's right before The Flash. It's a dope show so far. It's only been one episode, man. But I'm going to rock with it, man. If we're saying we're going to be pro-black, we need to be pro-black about everything. And it's not about not being pro anything else. It's just that we need some support. We need to see our people on camera. We need to feel the way we feel, and we need to have some kind of support. Dom K, is anything that you think that I may have missed that I could briefly touch on? I think anything that I might have missed, I probably ignored, but while we got a little time.
So the mother of the H&M model,
yes, we talked about that last week,
has changed her tune
since last week.
Yes,
saying she's no longer in support.
Well, if people remember, she was the one that was saying that she was, the hoodie didn't offend. She didn't say.
Yeah, she was in support of H&M.
Yeah, she was in support of H&M. She says now that looking back, she wonders if she had noticed it and what would be her initial response. Now, she previously said that the Coolest Monkey sweatshirt, she didn't really see what the outrage was, and now she's kind of saying that if she had to do it again, maybe she
do it a little bit different.
Yeah, would do it a little bit different.
The problem with this sister is that she's influenced by money. She's easily influenced by anything. So maybe when H&M paid up or didn't pay up, somebody dragged her to the side and said, look, this is wrong. You had outbreaks of vandalism in South Africa to H&M stores. Maybe there's been some threats. I hope not. But she certainly lost. I mean, what else is out there, though, Dom K, that I haven't got? What else is out there that I haven't got?
Well, so, okay. Were you offended by the president's words with the shithole, shit house, referring to several nations in Africa and Haiti and other places?
See, I'm American born. While I have multiple connections, I may not have felt immediately offended, as he didn't say fuck New York, as he's from there.
He probably wouldn't.
He didn't say fuck Baltimore or that shithole places, which, where I come from and what things are going on or where I'm at. You might make that argument, but fuck you if you do. But he didn't say that, so emotionally I didn't feel that. But as a person that likes to think diplomatically, to know that those countries are getting a bad rap because people vacation there, he vacations there. They are hard.
Employs people that
work there. They're hard.
Live there, yeah.
They're hardworking Americans from those places that are born and bred there. Hell yeah, I'm offended, and it's terrible. It's just terrible. The leader of the free world gets to do that, but I do know in the back of my mind, the only difference between him and other people is that he's saying what he feels with no filter, and they lied. The Clinton family had their hand in their atrocities, but they just were they were just politically savvy enough not to be as arrogant.
To me, I respect that more. I was talking with my father about this.
Yes.
But before I go too deep on that, also this was MLK
weekend.
Weekend, and MLK Day on Monday.
I'm remiss for saying that. I'm so terrible.
And I was talking to my father about this, and so they dig up, bring to the forefront different members of the King family during this time. Of course, and I told this to my mother as well, after Mrs. King, Coretta Scott King, passed.
Yes, it's a free for all.
It has been a free for all, and they will
on the 50th anniversary year of his death.
They will wheel these family members out. We don't know these people. Like the one dude that I'm really getting ready to dump on is a supposed nephew of Martin Luther King, and So to the point where, so obviously his last name is not King. They just referred to him as Martin Luther King Jr.'s nephew. Like, he don't even have a King name, right? And so he says that he didn't feel that Trump was racist, and he called him racially ignorant or something.
Racially confused or something.
Yeah, some foolishness like that. And what is he talking about? And it's just like, you know, if it's not Martin Luther King's son, you know, he slapping arms with Trump, or the daughter saying something dumb, at what point do these family members affect the legacy, or can they even affect the legacy?
No, it's past that. And you know what? Like, we've had this conversation, and, you know, people talk about what they would have done back then and now. Yeah. And I always say it's hard as shit to say that. Sure. You know, when you marching across Selma, that's like marching across the 28th Street thing over here, and imagining on the other side you being met with clubs and bats by the state police. That's very serious. And these people did that. And Martin Luther King Jr. did a lot with that. And it's like, we now know he wasn't perfect. He was a man by a man's standards. And it's like, I did all of that and I died. I literally got killed for what I believed in, to make a better place for you and my legacy. And now what? And it kind of ties into my point of how I always talk about there's no money for the community organizer. Somebody like Martin in today's time would have been beyond a millionaire and making enough money for his family to where hopefully, you know, there wouldn't be so much questionable stuff going on about his estate, about his name. And it's quite sad. And it's kind of like when you idolize the name versus the movement and the struggle behind it, this is kind of what happens. And it's no fault to him, man. It's like he did what he did, and that's kind of like a reminder to parents out there. It's like, you're going to do what the hell you do, but kids are going to be kids, and all you can do is put your best foot forward and raise them the best you can. It's pretty sad, man. It's pretty sad, and, you know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, I hope that we as people can keep to the forefront what he meant to the society and his sacrifice that he gave, and which he knew was coming, which was ultimately his life. I could not imagine the anguish and the anxiety that he went through knowing that his life was on the line. I mean, seriously knowing. And just to know what's going on now, it's like we all have to do better. You know, I don't blame the people in charge of this estate. I blame us as a black or brown society that we're not demanding more from our leaders and people that are connected to our leaders. We're not demanding anything. We find out somebody's in politics. We find out somebody knows somebody. We immediately sell out and we do whatever we want to do. And it's terrible.
It is.
So, with that said, we're at RadioOnFire.com, home of the Diamond K Morning Show. New episodes streaming daily at 9 a.m. And follow him. Follow on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. This man never sleeps, never stop working. Good guy, good fella. We like to call these people good fella. Radio on Fire, man. It's just hot. We love it. It's Baltimore. It's community. It's local. And I appreciate you tuning in. If you tune in, appreciate being here. And hopefully next week, myself and Jennifer will be back to have the full Speakeasy cast. Hopefully she doesn't beat anybody up this week. Hopefully she could be here. And we out, man. Thank you for having us. Peace.